Sports Fan Podcast. We back. Another episode, season 3, episode 21. First and foremost, I want to say hi to everybody out there. I appreciate everybody that listened to this special episode I had last night or yesterday evening with the ladies. Episode 20. So it was a lot of views, a lot of good conversation, all that. So back for another Monday, July 20th, live from the crib. So this couldn't work out any better. Couldn't get in band tonight. Next 2 weeks they're doing cleaning, with COVID and everything, trying to make sure everything's deep clean. So couldn't work out any better. Got a little bro here. Got cuz here in the back, you know what I mean? So we got family here. So we here, we in the building, man. So I want to, appreciate everybody out there for tuning in. Definitely one of the most, as Bryce said, the most anticipated podcast that we have is I think we're gonna do something. Was it last month? We want to wait, make sure we do it in person. You know what I mean? Because it's family over here. So I appreciate you coming through. But y'all all know him, Todd Newman Jr., LT. The most of y'all. So we're gonna get into a lot. Man, the young man's been through a lot. He's accomplished a lot. So we're gonna get into everything out there. So make sure y'all like this, share it, do your watch parties, do all that. We'll be on YouTube in a couple of days. So we're gonna get in here and really chop it up. So first and foremost, bro, man, how's everything? How's the family and what's going on?
Everything good. I mean, thank you for having me over here.
No doubt.
You don't have to bring Bryce in, but everybody good. It's been good being home, seeing Mom, seeing James, seeing Riley, my niece, everybody. Daughter doing well, getting told, I don't know what. Yeah. So time flying on that, but everything good, man. Everybody COVID-free at the house. So.
Yeah, that's what's important. Mm-hmm. That's what's important, man. Make sure everybody stays safe and all that. So that's what's up. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna, start off talking about the journey, man. This is a young man that had a unique journey, and I was able to see, like a lot of people, I wasn't able to see him from boys to young men to men. But LT, I was able to see that. We probably met. Now you probably don't remember, but we probably met. I know Mike Blake will be on here. Probably 96. Right? If I'm wrong, let me know. But I'm pretty sure it was 96. Your mom might be here too. She might be, but I'm pretty sure it was 96, 97 maybe. But so I seen you probably was 7 or 8 at that time, and I've seen you, grow and get better and better. And I can say I always knew you was gonna be tough in ball. Because when I met you, you was already had the capabilities, and you was shooting the ball like that and was going in, at that age. So it was no surprise to me. So again, man, I salute you and thanks for jumping on, on the podcast. You could be doing something else, so I appreciate it. But first and foremost, man, let's talk to everybody about how it all started. With growing up with ball, like who put the ball in your hand. Talk about early on, just how you fell in love with the game.
Early on, I mean, because of course I was probably 4 or 5 maybe. My mom always said I started at 3, but I was probably 4 or 5 maybe. But I mean, of course, coming up, the guy boys and Mike Stanford Sr. and all that type of guys would always give me the stories about my dad. So even to this day, you can't do nothing with your dad. You can't do nothing with your dad.
It's like obvious.
So I mean, I always had a basketball with me, and then honestly, it was really Mike Blake. Like he kept, because I was lazy for a long time. So he always just made sure we was outside shooting around or whatever the case may be. Or I used to go to work with my grandmother in the mornings.
Oh, okay.
So she always made sure I had the best. She got pictures all over the house of me with basketball. So I had to say probably around 94 maybe is when I first really started, like, I mean, of course I didn't really understand it.
Like that, but
I didn't really start loving basketball, to be honest with you, bro, probably until like 13, 14 years old.
Believe that.
So, because, of course, the tragic situation with my dad, like you said, I just forget it. I only want to play basketball. I was stuck in the room, just wanted to play video games all day. Then one day my mom was like, "No, you got to get up. We're going outside. You want to play basketball, clear your head, do something." And then I always had, I always hung out with older people. I was always the young person. I always hung out with older people. Yeah. So, Cabby, DeAndre Gibson, they always used to come to the house and come get me, tell me come outside, all that. So, I really, after that church situation with my pop, like I just didn't see the need. I was like, I want him to see me playing, but, so I really didn't see the need after that. So probably 7 or 8 is when I really started getting back into it. Like, all right, I said I got a little bit of time. I was playing with 11, 12-year-olds.
Yeah,
I'm doing all right.
Yep.
I mean, I was chunky back then. Man.
Yeah,
was fat, though.
Yeah, chunky,
Yeah, I was chunky back then. So, but yeah. So once I always played with my first AU team was Mike Sampson.
Yeah,
with the blue and white.
Yeah, blue and white joints.
Yeah. So I was playing with Mike Blake, DJ Brooks, Rob Pitts, all that stuff. Yeah. So probably about 7 or 8 is when I really started getting back into it.
That's what's up. And I'm glad you said, because one thing that I was going to say, and you said that one of the reasons I think you got so good and still is because you always played up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what I'm saying? So like you said, when you was 8, you was playing 11 and under. You was 9, you was playing 12 and under. Like, you was always playing up. And I think eventually, correct me if I'm wrong, y'all eventually you went to your age group as you got older, you know what I'm saying, AU. But you always played up. So I remember I think our first AU tournament, Mike wasn't 12 and I think I was 12 and under then, states. And I remember you playing with them. And like you said, I was like, man, this kid cold. Like you said, I know the little bit of laziness you talking about because we used to always be over Richards.
Mm-hmm.
So shout out Richard. Like I said, we used to always go over there. And that's how we all got tight. For a lot of us who don't know the circle, you know what I'm saying? We all got tight. You know, going over Richards or over Mike Dad's house, having a good time. And LT was always the youngest, so it'd be, you know, ones there older than him, you know, 1, 2, 3, even 4 or 5 years. But Big Bro always held him down. You know what I mean?
Shout out to that. Remember time you put that hot sauce on?
Yeah. Well, we had, you know, we always had the rule that if you go to sleep early, we're gonna get you whether it was hot sauce, baby powder, something like that. But when the majority of the time when it came to making sure you good, if Richard led the lead, he always made sure me and Mike made sure everything was held down. So when Tay and Beater and them came over there, and them trying to take the game over, what's up, James? I know you gonna be here. You know, we always made sure that was good. But I say all that to say, man, you always excel because you always played up. Yeah, Mike, 12 and under, you always played higher up. So when you were, you know, before you took it serious, were you just playing just for something to do? Were you playing because you felt like you had to because your dad was a great baller? But talk on that a little bit.
That's really what it was. Like I felt like I was playing just to follow in my father's footsteps. It wasn't really like
the love of it.
Yeah, I didn't really like Bryce and them. Like they loved Michael Jordan growing up. I really didn't. I was watching.
I don't remember you were a fan.
Yeah,
you didn't.
I was watching Arthur or playing video.
Right.
I was watching Arthur
playing
video. So I never really, I ain't gonna sit here and say didn't love the game, but I think mainly because I was trying to carry the name after that. So like when people was telling me all the stories, like I said, about my dad growing up and him in different leagues over in Denton, and I was talking to this guy Daryl Deaton at the
Deets.
I was talking to him at the games the other day.
You know the history.
You know the history. So he was like, man, your dad was a bad dude. So I mean, once I kept hearing those stories, so then I think it probably became. Because then, like I said, I was always the youngest, so I was just like, I'm just playing because I can get to hang out with the big brothers. You know what I'm saying? So, but then once I really started, like when I got that growth spurt. And like I really, cause I was probably like 5'9", ninth grade, 10th grade. I was short and chunky. Like all I would do was shoot 3. So, but yeah, once I really finally got that love, which was probably like my junior year in high school.
That's scary.
Junior year, senior year. Scary, my senior year was really when I really started. Like,
you did it. We're gonna get the done numbers. I got the clips for them. We gonna get the done numbers.
That's when I really got into it. Yeah. Like I said, shout out Mike Blake. Like I don't think people understand how close me and Mike Blake was.
People don't. People, I think.
And Mike Stanford, my bad.
And Mike Stanford.
Mike Stanford Jr. and Mike Blake.
Y'all three.
Those two, I could not beat them two for the longest time. Mike Blake it's a picture, man. Mike Blake was taller than me.
Yeah, that picture he posted on his birthday.
Yeah, he was taller than me. So like, it was him and Mike Stanford Jr., Cabby, DeAndre Gibson. Like those were the 4 older people. Like when I first started getting into it. So
you court at your house.
Had the court at the house, and that's when everybody, they used to call it the Dusty Court. Everybody would come over there. I mean, everybody from Parkway, even people from the Hill would come up there. Yeah. We just all had good times.
Good time.
Either that, we playing on my derby at the field right next to it.
Yeah, so that's where it's at. And it's scary though because, like you said, you didn't really get the love until say your junior year. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, I seen you killing.
I couldn't tell.
And I know I couldn't tell either. You know what I mean? 'Cause I seen you killing AAU. Like I said, you know, you were a couple years younger than who you playing against. And you still put up numbers. Like I said, you always, excuse me, could always shoot the ball. I mean, always you shoot it, and then you just started putting the full package together. So let's go ahead and let's get into just the impact before we get to high school, just the impact that Richard, James, and your mom had, as far as, growing up. Because those are three people that, always there, still there, never going nowhere. So just talk about that impact. Obviously, Mom Dukes is Mom Dukes. James slides in, in the father role and all he did, for AAU. And shout out Eastern Tribe Black Organizations coming back. Stay tuned for that. And then, Richard, like I said, your dad best friends. So you like his son. So just talk about the impact those three had.
So I'm gonna start with Richard. Like my mom. The crazy part is we just had the cookout down. At Uncle Bobby.
I know you missed mine. I missed that one.
And a lot of people, Uncle Bobby's my godfather. Like that's him and my dad was real tight. So, but Richard. So my mom always told me Richard was like the little bro to my dad. So
gotcha.
He So I mean, even like when I got there, like it's just like the hug he gave me. I think now I'm starting to remind him. Like,
I say, now
I'm like I'm getting older. Like my bill is getting like and all that. And this is around the 30, 31. So yeah, Richard. I tell people this all the time. If Richard was still my coach my 11th and 12th grade year, I would have went D1.
Oh man, we need to talk about that.
I would have went D1. So
like me today, yes.
Yeah, I would have went D1. So. But Richard, like I owe him a lot.
I love Richard.
I owe him a lot.
Cause I say the same thing. I know we jump, we just gonna flow how we flow anyway.
Right.
It's funny y'all said because just like with me, it's funny that all of us is coached by Richard. Cause my senior year, Richard, well actually, obviously Richard coached me at AAU sometime in Hall, but high school he only coached my senior year.
Right.
So I had 3 different coaches all 3 years. And I said the same thing. Like I got a JUCO scholarship. If I had Richard all 3 years, it just would have made me, that much better. No disrespect to nobody else, but he just knew the game, knew us,
right.
and all that. So talk about, I'm sorry, yeah, that was Richard. I'm already going, and James and Mom Dukes.
Okay, so James, like, I could do a whole hour about him. Maybe a whole day book. I could write a whole book about James.
Man, love that.
Crazy part is about James. Like when we first met, we met at 402 in the kitchen. We used to call him Mr. Bell for like 2 years. So, but James, man, like, I wouldn't be the man I am today without him. To be honest, like he never came in and tried to like take over and none of that. He just flew right in. You know what I'm saying? So like, I owe James my life at this point. I put this on all the posts. Like my mom puts pictures of him. I owe James my life. Like he really saved me for real. Cause like that after that tragic situation, I could have took a dark turn. But I mean, like I said, I had some big bros that wouldn't let me do that. So, but James did. Like he made sure like he said, like Rashawn said, like I was a crybaby. Me and James used to butt heads about that type of stuff. Of course, like I mean, he was natural, so we used to butt heads early on.
He didn't come and try to take it. He said stuff like that.
Never. It was never nothing like that. So like, funny story about James. I can't remember. I think I was maybe like 10, 11. I was sitting in the house, like I said, playing the game. He was like, "You going to the free throw competition at the high school?"
I was in that joint.
And
I got one first and second place, baby.
I was like, I was sitting there. I was like, I did not want to go. Ended up going to that free throw competition. Went all the way to West Virginia. Lost by 1 free throw to go to Massachusetts.
You don't like close on free throw.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, I mean, 15 for 16, 17 for 20s and stuff like that. So, like, just little stuff like that. James was always teaching me that. Like, early on, I didn't get him. I didn't get him. But now that I'm a father and I'm in the school system now, and you know what I'm saying? Like, he has the utmost respect for me and TR. Like, so, and my Dukes. It's my Dukes. Like, that tragic situation, I seen my mom really go into a superhero. Like, she had me and TR, and, well, of course, probably she young, so me and TR had never wanted for nothing in our life. Like, my mom used to work in D.C., so, like, she always talk about how, I used to, like, complain about her coming home late. And I was just like, I used to always call, like, where you at?
You ain't know nothing about that commute back then.
You know what I'm saying? My mom, my best friend, bro. Like I tell people all the time, like, I know people like Michael Jordan, they idols and all. Nah, my mom's my idol, to be honest with you. Like, of course, me and her butt heads, we the same person. So we butt heads over little stuff. But that's my dog. Like, my mom, she deserved the world, bro. Like, she was there every every step of the way. Even when I know we're gonna get into the CIAA and stuff.
Oh, yeah,
She was at every game down there.
Wow, didn't miss nothing. That's dope. That's dope.
Didn't miss nothing.
That's dope.
Every tournament game, she was right there.
That's dope.
And she made sure she had a front row.
Yeah, that's dope.
So like seeing her like get to enjoy stuff like that, like she
that's what it's all about. Yeah.
She get to see Tom Joyners and Earl Monroe and all them type people. Like they really like this close to them. Like so.
That's crazy.
Them getting to see that, and then of course I don't want to forget my sister, TR. That's my
Everybody
knows that's my right hand right there. TR really my right hand. So like, man, I just got her a chain with my dad.
I seen it.
So like,
that was nice, man. Yeah,
that's my girl right there. So yeah, I can't forget TR either though.
Yeah, that's always she's always the craziest. It's always the craziest seeing her because I remember her when she was a baby, like she was 3-4 years old, and see her. I remember like I hadn't seen her in maybe like 10 years and ran to her. I was like, man,
my sister go get her though. Bro.
Yeah,
like,
she is. She's
independent woman, bro.
She
won't
did that
ask you
for
for
Mom
nothing.
Dukes.
Yeah, she won't ask you for nothing.
So that's what's up, man. Shout out to the fam. But that's what's up, man. I just wanted to highlight them because I know it's a lot more people influencers, but those are the ones that stood out for me from the outside looking in. So just want to touch on that. So going into obviously AU, y'all do y'all thing, and, with tournaments and like I said, we shout out the East Shore Athletic Organization. We can do more on that also, but I don't want to hold LT here all night, so I'm gonna go forward, into high school. So 9th grade, man. Tell me about 9th grade. You was on JV, right? So that was got.
That's a funny thing too. People don't believe I ever played JV.
Like I don't remember. You know what I'm saying? And I almost felt funny saying it. You know what I'm saying? But I also know that if I'm not mistaken, your freshman year, you did play in a couple playoff games, right? Or then they bring you up, and then they move you. Okay, but talk to me about that because Tony Johnson was y'all. Was he your coach JV year?
Yeah, JV.
Okay, so talk about your JV. Did y'all go undefeated or what was going on that year?
Nah, we lost to. Who did we lose to?
I felt those. So y'all was the best though. But I'm a little JV. I can't find it.
I think we was the best JV. We was. Yeah,
I ain't seen nobody like. I think we only lost to Cambridge.
I think we lost to Cambridge that year.
That's not how it is, JV. It's only gonna be. It's all Cambridge.
We was JV.
But I do know like our JV games was lit.
Yeah. I believe that. Yeah, for sure.
You got to get there at a decent time.
Yeah.
So our JV year, I think we probably lost like 1 or 2 games.
And so freshman year, like I said, you ain't got the love yet.
Nah,
so
I'm really just playing.
Do you remember what you averaged in your freshman year? You probably don't.
Yeah.
But it was just going through the motions. Like I can score.
Yeah, I can
but,
score. Like I said, I'm playing with the homies, so we just having fun.
Right, having fun. Got you. So sophomore year, I'm pretty sure you went into that year pretty much knowing it, and you embraced both that y'all as sophomores, were going to be on varsity because I know, me and Cat was the same way. We knew going into 10th grade, who was going to be on varsity. Mike Blake graduates, D. Briggs graduates, and so forth. So talk about going in 10th grade because I did get to catch definitely one game, maybe 2, y'all sophomore year. I mean, you was pulling up from deep then without the love of the game, So I'm just interested here, headband killer, you had the headband on this sophomore year. So let's talk about your mindset going into your sophomore year, and then just talk about that season in general.
Sophomore year, I think, of course, like my 2 best friends, Bryce and Dimitri, like we was always tight. So like that summer, like I said, we still doing kid stuff. Like, going to Bryce out, jumping on trampolines, doing stuff like that. So like going into sophomore year, I knew I had Richard that year. So I knew that I was like, all right, I know Richard not about to play me. I feel like Richard gonna trick. No, I knew Richard was gonna be on me the hardest that whole year.
It's like he was on Mike.
Yeah, I knew he was gonna be on. He was gonna be on me hardest the whole year. Excuse me, but so our mindset that year was we actually got a little team right here. Like when we walk around campus, when we walk around high school and all that, we saying how we got Big Skinner like Jerron. Terrence, of course me, Bryce, Boo, Marcus, like we was ready. We was ready. And then we had the black uniform.
We had the black uniform. That's the thing.
So when we got the black uniform, it was a wrap. So going into our sophomore practices was fun. We getting after the scrimmages and all that type of stuff. You know, Richard running the bus. So we it was. maybe that first game I saw him.
Yeah.
What was it, Bennett?
Yeah, good game. Yeah, real good.
I knew that's
Our
what
first game?
Your first game, your first game you killed, and then because I was telling Bryce that his first game he came back from his vacation.
Right.
He killed. You know what I mean? So you did. I think
Yeah.
it was like 20. I know you had like 20 plus
Yeah.
for sure. You know what I'm saying?
But that was the game. Yeah, that was the game I had 6-3 in the first quarter. So that's when we went into halftime, we all looking at each other like we got a squad.
Yeah.
Like we need to lock in and really
Yeah.
try to get across this bridge.
Yeah.
So of course, what was that was down there. So maybe like 10 games in, I get a James Hope. He was like your geometry and chemistry.
Just like
He was like, your geometry and chemistry grades, you ain't gonna be able to play second half of the season if you don't buckle down. I already knew about like the 6th game. I was like, this over.
Yeah.
Bro, they gave me geometry and chemistry in the
Oh,
same
you did say that. You did say that.
I'm like, come on, bro. I mean, of course
And that is crazy, though,
Yeah,
because
I should have buckled down more on it, but
Yeah.
so that actually helped me though, like as far as like
Looking back now,
becoming a better person and
Yeah.
getting not taking stuff for granted and stuff like that. So yeah, I ended up failing off my 10th grade year. So, and the crazy part is, a lot of people thought I was just gonna go sit in the house and hide. Nah, I still went to the sport. I still went to the game.
I remember being there. When, I was like, "Where LT at?" And I seen you come.
Yeah,
I mean,
it was just once I felt off my 10th grade year, I mean, it definitely was.
That's embarrassing.
It's kind of embarrassing and stuff like that. But I was like, I mean, I did that to myself. I ain't got nobody
That's
playing.
good.
But of course, people like, James, fuck the school. You can't get your grades. Nah, I can't do that. So
Y'all trying to get the man fired. Golly, damn.
and James, like he, like I said, he all about lessons.
Yeah.
So
It's a lesson for sure. Man.
he was just like, all right, well, you know what you gotta do now. So after that, I ain't even play with the schoolwork like that. After that, so like, of course, I wasn't like 4.0 type thing, but I'll definitely buckle down on during the senior year.
Yeah. That's what's up. And then so going into 11th grade, just like I was telling Bryson, he was on said, after you get your sophomore year, whether you play half a year, full year, you feel a lot more confident going to your junior year, especially after having a year on varsity and playing like you played. So, what was just your mindset going into your junior year? Because this is now where you, from my mindset, start to get more serious in it. Like I said, y'all lose Skinner, who's obviously a big asset down low. But you guys still have a great team with you, Bryce, Marcus, Boo, Mont, and the list goes on, and Desmond, and Dre, and I mean, y'all had a squad. That's all. I mean, y'all had a squad. So just talk about your mindset, going into your junior year, especially from everything that happened your sophomore year.
Okay, so now that's what brings me into when I fell off my sophomore year. I told myself that would never happen again because I felt like I let my family down. Like it's embarrassing to my mom and them. They not come, but they still come to the game and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So going into my junior year, and I seen how like the game was coming easier to me after a while. So like it started. Then I had like a little growth spurt. I probably went up to like 6'1" my junior year. I told everybody I felt like I let Skinner down the most because he was a senior that year, and that was our best chance to get the states. When I got to that first practice, November 15th, it was a whole different LT. Like, I wasn't playing with nobody. I mean, of course, I'm still there.
And also not to cut you off, the new coach, right?
New coach, Tony Johnson. So I'm the jokester at the practice and all that type of stuff. Like I'm always playing around, just trying to make sure everybody has fun.
Yeah, for sure.
But when it came to game times,
Let's get it.
I think we lost to Cambridge that first night, and we lost to Cambridge that first night. After that, just hit the ground running after that because Boo. Funny story about that junior year. That's been all them on here. They didn't make me captain that year, so I was hot with everybody. Like I would do little petty stuff like we running sprints and all that. I would go all the way to the corner and run by myself. I just wasn't talking about it.
Yeah, Butler did me the same way. I was captain sophomore year. I come back junior year, I ain't the cap.
Yeah, I did little child stuff like that. Like they ain't make me captain that year, so I was mad with them, and I was mad with the opponents.
More fuel.
So like after that, like I'm gonna show my teammates that I should have been captain this year. But they famous thing was, you got another year, bro. You got to plan your time. But like I said, though, out there having fun with my brothers like that, bro. Like, the game just started coming easier my junior year, and I really started finding my love for the game after that. Like, I really can compete with a lot of people because I think, you got summer too. We playing against some like Dante Greens and
Oh, y'all did play Dante Green?
yeah, we played Dante Green, Sean Mosley, Malcolm. What's Malcolm with Virginia Tech?
Brogdon?
No, not Malcolm Brogdon.
Oh, Virginia Tech. He went to Virginia Tech.
I forgot his
I know
name.
who you talking about.
He played for the Hawks a couple years ago.
I know you talking about.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm just gonna come to me in a little bit. But we was playing people like that, and I actually did alright against those type people. I had like maybe good 20, 25 on like Team Mellows and stuff like that. So I'm like, hold up, I can actually compete with some of these top dogs.
Right.
And then James was taking me to Eastern Invitational and stuff like that. I got most outstanding player at Eastern Invitational. I should have brought that to you too. But yeah, so after that, it was who we played after that, Bryce?
Who?
After the first Cambridge game, because we ended up going on the
we
street.
went on the street. Y'all went on the main street.
We ended up going on the street.
I had it. I remember telling
Bryce.
Oh yeah, Michael Delaney. Yeah.
So I started really saying that I could compete with those type people. That's when I was
That's all the confidence you needed then.
And so then when I came back on this side of the bridge,
man,
there was nothing nobody could do with me after that.
Nice.
So and then we always had just like me and John always had this who the better.
Yeah, go ahead and expand on that too.
Oh yeah, so
it's just that because y'all have the friendship, you also have a rivalry. You know, the
right.
rivalry too.
So me and John been boys since like 7 years old. Like we've been tight. Cause we was on AU together early. Cause when John had Jafro and all that, and then John was going to sharpshooter. John, my boy. So they always was like we same age. They like our birthdays like a week apart. All that. So they always trying to make us go back and forth, blah blah blah. So it came to 9th grade. John was straight to varsity. So they like, oh, John way better than us. John got player of the year locked when they get older. That was more fuel. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's never no beef between me and John, but that was just how I was getting into it. So junior year came. This when me and John, like, I'm starting, and he just started point guard over there. So we really started, we started going head to head after that. So it was probably the first matchup we had over there with them. Because they had took Terrence from us. Yeah, Terrence Colson went over there. So, little stuff like that. Just fun little stuff to be mad about. So, we played them. Like, I always try to make sure I had 20, 25 plus on North Carolina and stuff like that. So, but yeah, they always had a little rival with me and John type thing. It was never no, bad blood or nothing like that. Me and John still talk to this day. Oh, yeah. Every day, to be honest with you. So, but it was just that people were saying, John, the best player in that class. Right. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna show y'all that I can hoop with the best of them. So like I said, the AAU summer, that really started. Like when I seen that I could compete with those guys that's going to Virginia Tech, the Syracuse, and all that type of stuff, and then I hit the growth spurt. Yeah. So our junior year was a good one. That really grew my game a lot. That's when I really started finding love for it.
And who won the base out that year? Y'all went back and forth with North Carolina.
I think North Carolina won.
Was it the coin flip? Was that the coin flip year?
Because I remember we couldn't play in the Bayside game one time because we played too many Christmas tournament games.
Yeah, they always trying to make
so it was something like that. It was something like that. But
I thought we won the Bayside RG.
Yeah, I think y'all wanted
because
to
we couldn't free throws.
But we couldn't do it though. Because remember we played too many Christmas tournament games.
They went and then the senior year was the same. We'll get
our junior year down. Our junior year.
I think so. No. Not that year. Oh, our junior. We definitely. I got no base out too. We don't got no base out.
We'll clarify.
I gotta look at that. I don't think we got none.
Yeah, go ahead over there, Bryce. I got it on my phone. But yeah, and just compare before we get to senior because we have had the debate. And Skinner, we ain't talking about that tonight.
I'm gonna talk about
your sophomore year team. With like you said, with Skinner still there as a senior. Compared to your junior year team, who I know some have said I think Mont was saying the junior year team better. I know some would say your sophomore year team. Just talk about those two teams comparing it real quick.
That's a tough one.
It's tough.
I've been thinking about it since y'all said it.
Yeah, it's tough. Like I said,
But
it's tough.
I think I'm gonna go with the sophomore year because I'm gonna tell you why I'm gonna go with the sophomore year because Skinner was like a Shaq type force.
Yeah, Skinner was crazy.
Brent said it was his senior year. They went to Bayside. So the junior year, who went Eastern? I couldn't find that in there, but we'll get back to that. But go ahead.
Yeah, so Skinner was a force down there.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So we had a true big. You got Marcus and Boo at the 1 and 2. And, you know, Boo and Mark, Boo and Skinny used to call themselves like Kobe and Shaq like that. So we just, me and Bryce, we just find our spots with them. You know, with that team. So like
deep bench.
And I say sophomore year again because you can't double Skinner down there because he can pass well enough to kick it out to me, Boo, Marcus, Bryce, and knock down 3. And then if you playing that school, we're gonna dumb it down. You got 1-on-1.
Yeah.
So no, like people really couldn't like my sophomore year.
Skinner was the good. Is Skinner on there?
Yeah.
Hey, yo, Skinner, you're the goat, bro.
The good.
Skinner was, I feel like Skinner don't get enough credit though. Like,
he really don't.
He really don't.
And he's the hardest person I've ever had to guard in my life.
Yeah, and I'll put him up there with that too. I told him a couple years ago we was at the Wire playing 3-on-3, man, and he worked me so bad. I said, yeah, it's time to
got crazy feet, man.
I said, yeah, I'm changing.
And that's another thing. Like I couldn't like he talked about that. I couldn't beat Skinner for the longest time. And I'm like, I'm a guard. I can't beat this big man. But when I got back from Florida, 11-0.
11-0. You know, before we go on, you know, while we talking about that, you know who I used to hate playing one. I could beat. It doesn't matter if they was taller, if they was, you know, my height. You know how I used to hate playing was Winnie and Mike. Because they would get under you, yo. Like I was trying to post up. Me too. I try to post up, and they would get under you. Like you really couldn't be comfortable. But I used to hate both of them 1-on-1, yo. Like anybody else, like. But yeah.
But yeah, I struggle with.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Brett. Yeah. Thanks, Bet. You is right. You're right. And I got that right now.
It was Chris White and them.
Yeah, it was Chris White and them. That's right. Yeah, because they started off slow and then they kept going. Yeah, they won their junior year. And then Carolina senior, but because Carolina almost had it their junior year, like Brent was saying.
Yeah, because Chris, Alex, like I said, shout out to them too, and my dog too. Like that's when we started getting that. We started getting that Cambridge and East stuff out of the window. Yeah. Alex was the first person to take me on corner drive. You know what I'm saying? Go over there and just chill. And I was good because Alex was out. Like that's when the love started switching a little.
That's true. That's true though.
And now you see the young boys from Cambridge and East hanging out and all that.
That's true. Good to see. Good point. It is, man. It is. So going into your senior year, you know, it's basically killing season. You know what I'm saying? Because you know your sophomore year, you know you play half the year, did your thing. Junior year had a great year, and I was actually going back to the junior. I was at the game when y'all played Wahad. I was at that game because y'all play Wahad in the playoffs, right?
When we lost to
because I remember we had a real
game.
Yeah, so I do remember that one. Then we'll get to senior year because I know a lot of matchups with that too. But so going to your senior year, you had a great summer. You know, did you play AU that summer? What did you do that summer? Yeah, what did you do that summer to prepare for your senior year?
Excuse me, I'm forgetting my boy. Because remember, I played with James that year for a while too.
Right.
And I was still playing up.
Right.
So they ended up creating that younger team.
Right.
And JR was our coach.
Oh yeah.
I can't shout out my 15s. Let's go. I can't forget my dog JR.
JR was good.
And JR used to let us come stay at his house. He played a middle role in a lot of lives too. Like he let us come stay at his house. We'd go down to his mom's, get breakfast, all that type of stuff. So I think that was our last year of AAU, and we was with JR. So I mean, once that last year, like I said, we started seeing like the team mellows again, and Cecil Kurtz and all them type teams.
Yeah.
So like I said, once I started really competing with them and getting 20s on those type people. Senior year? Junior year. You want to talk about the first team?
Yeah. Let's talk about the first team because you made first team, but you led the Bayside in scoring. They ended up, you know, giving it to because Chris was a senior that year. So being won the Bayside, he averaged like 16, 17. A lot of times I do that, but you know, go ahead and talk about what you think should happen.
Me personally, I think it's also because, like I said, now that I remember that they won, so I think because a lot of people don't remember. Formonte was in that 06 class too.
I forgot to tell you said something. Yeah,
Formonte was in that 06 class too, so I knew it was a toss up between them two. But if we was going off of numbers and stuff like that, I think I should have got third year my junior year.
That's how you do with the underclassmen, man. You got to almost.
I think I averaged like 24 my junior year.
Who won
as an underclassman? Because I'm trying to think, all these people I'm thinking about.
Didn't Jabari win one?
Oh yeah, John. I know
John did.
They had to give John.
You had to give John.
I'm trying to think anybody else.
I thought Jabari got that joint too.
Tabari was a junior though. I mean, our junior? No, he was a junior when we was
just saying, he got one though as an underclassman.
Okay.
He couldn't have. I see you saying. Yeah, I got you. Okay. All right, that's what's up. So just like you said, that work, going into your senior. So I'm gonna throw some of your numbers out senior year. So you had 27-45 in the first half. 27 in the first half. On your way to 45 points one game. You played Ken Island. You had 50, y'all. Played, and this is the one. Played Colonel.
That was the same night too.
Yeah, that was the same night. Played Colonel. Had 51. This is the thing. Had 51, but did it in 3 quarters. And I thought I seen. Now listen, I seen Gary score 32 in 3 quarters, and that was something to see. I was right there. But this man had 51 in 3 quarters. And this is the thing. Only missed 3 shots. 18 for 21 from the field. And he had 12 steals. So my thing with Colin was it going in the ball? Was it? Yo!
Remember I told you that was
y'all had the press. Y'all had the press on him. Yeah. Y'all had the press on him. So I said 12 steals. And about 6-7 assists. So just talk about just those big clip games like that, because starting off the season, y'all beat Cambridge the second game of the season that year, and y'all get Wahai their first loss. I don't know if y'all remember that year as well, because they were undefeated. Y'all beat us. So just talk about your mindset and just y'all mindset as a team, because obviously y'all lost Boo and Marks and them, and you, Bryce, Lump, knew y'all was gonna have to take on more of the burden, especially you and Bryce scoring. Y'all also had was it Cullen, right?
Yeah.
That was real good. So just talk about that year.
Well, my senior year, this is another thing too though about that. Like my senior year, like of course I was getting the 50s and the 40s and all that, but people don't really understand how close we were.
Yeah.
Like we was really like, it was never no hate or nothing like that. Like, cause Eastern High School, in the morning they did the announcements. They'd be like, but it was never no hate with our team. So shout out to Lump, Bryce, BJ. You know what I'm saying? Like, we was that four I just named right there. We was all tight, and we had Cody that year.
Y'all had Cody, yeah.
And Cody started out early, so Cody got me in my group early that year.
Oh, yeah.
So Cody passed for his guy, so he got me in my group early that year. So I think we played Queen Anne's the first night, my senior year, and I had 41, 45, something like that.
Yeah.
45.
Yeah, that's the one. The 27 the first half.
I had 45 the first half. I mean the first game.
Yeah.
So we go to the locker room, and it's a true story too. We go to the locker room. Charles Fontaine had like 40 or something that night.
Did he?
He had like 40 down south. He had like 40 that night. I'll never forget this story. He had like 40 that night. So they like, damn, bro, he trying to match you. Like, what you next night, 49. He gonna have to keep up.
That's
and then
crazy.
my homegirl, shout out to Casey, she just got married and all that. Me and Casey Morton from
She went to UMS?
Yeah. That's my dog right there. We talk all the time. That's my dog. So, she down there getting 40s.
Yeah, she was.
I'm like, nah, I gotta be the top scorer on this side of shit. So I mean, I was just like I said, just finding little stuff to, you know what I'm saying?
But now you got the love of the game.
Now I got the love of the game, and now I'm just trying to pick my spots and all that type of stuff. So, like it was like I said, back to we never hated on each other. So like it'll be time where they see me going, they just like, go ahead. We know they can't. And then it was kind of unheard of back then, like seeing somebody come and step across half court to shoot the ball. So a lot of teams was caught off guard with that.
And before, before you go, I was at a playoff game for Easton, and it was a white gentleman that was there. He looked back, and we started talking. He said, "Man," he said, "I remember being here and seeing Tom Newman come right across half court shooting, seeing Ron Bryce catch a dunk. He, I knew y'all, but I can't even remember what happened. I think one of the young boys got a dunk, and he just started reminiscing. So you were, like I said, you were before your time. So let's talk about that. They weren't used to that.
Yeah. So a lot of people wasn't used to a kid coming down, just taking a step over and shooting. And then I started making it at a high clip.
That's what I'm saying. They gonna say, "Oh, good, that's a bad shot."
So we like, my mom, I'm like, all right, James, like, if you can make that, shoot it. Like it's a high percentage shot to you. Like you can really. So I mean, I started once I got started getting, and then I practiced dumb stuff like that. Like they know in practice, I shoot backwards, all that type of stuff,
and just make them.
And I just practiced dumb stuff all the time, little horse shots. Like so, like when I got to the games, I was just like, all right, and then like I'm real big on like the crowd and stuff like that. I'm one of the players that feed off the crowd. So like when I'm seeing people like Bonky and Soup, and, you know what I'm saying, all that. I don't forget none of the OGs, but when I'm starting to see them type people in the crowd, like now it's like, all right, now it's time to turn up and show them that we gonna carry the torch until we get down to the next generation, all that.
Right.
So like I said, though, it was never no hate on that team. So like once they see me getting 40s and Because it was, what, the first 6 games, I think?
Yeah, you was averaging 41
For
before. You was averaging 41 going into the Christmas tournament.
Yeah.
And then your Christmas tournament, y'all had the 2 losses, and then you came right back out at Christmas.
So that's what they said.
That's what they started right back.
Thing.
Yeah.
So, so like I said, though, like, when they seen me, and then vice versa, though. Like, because people keep, Bryce averaged 18, 19
Yeah,
that year.
they did. Yeah.
So, like, you got somebody that averaged, what was that, 32, 33, something like that. So when you got somebody that averaging 30s, and then you still got the next man a point under 20, like, you know it's not right. So we all, and that's another thing too. They talking about, because a lot of people I talk to now, they like, you was averaging 30, you wasn't passing the ball. I averaged about 4 or 5, 6.
I say you did. I got the number.
And that's what I'm saying. I was never selfish to them.
Yeah.
So like, and then like I said, it was genuine love. That like we hung out all day in high school. After school, we go with each other, and we all sit at the same lunch table.
Yeah,
so like, their chemistry off the court made it super easy when we got to the court. So. Yeah, senior year was a good year.
And you ended up being, if I'm not mistaken, I think Ja Ringo was the 13th, so I think he was the 12th person to go over 1,000. So talk about, I should have been 12, but we ain't gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about that. I was close. But so talk about scoring 1,000, because I seen that, if I'm not mistaken, Tony Johnson didn't tell you till halftime that you needed at that time 2 more going. I think you scored like 21 or 22 in that first half. So just talk about your mindset going into that game.
Outscore Steve Decatur. Right?
So, yeah. Outscore Steve Decatur. Thank you. Outscore Steve Decatur.
The crazy part about that is I played varsity like 1 game against Kent County my freshman year. So they couldn't find the books.
Yes, thank you for saying that.
They couldn't find the books, so they didn't know whether I needed 21 or like 11 or something like that.
That's what he said too.
After that, they was like, nah, you need 11. Nah, you need 21.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna get 21.
I was like, I'm just gonna get 21 then. So I ended up having like 21 that first half. But when because I got it, the second half?
Yeah, you got a second half right.
So the team, they all know. I'm the only one that don't know.
Shout out the backboard.
I'm the only one that don't know. And I'm steady trying to pass the ball. Like I said,
that's what they said. You was trying to pass.
I'm steady trying to pass the ball. Everybody like, bro, you don't get this 1,000 points. So then I ended up getting it. I mean, like I said, it was good to see it. I mean, my boy Marcus was there. Blue. Everybody was in there. Just seeing the joy on my mom and James' face that day when I got that.
Yeah.
And then the crazy part is a lot of people don't know that I really scored 1,000 in what? Year and a half? 2?
Yeah, because you didn't play your whole.
I didn't play my whole sophomore year.
Yeah.
I played like 9 games my sophomore year. Junior year I did well, and then
senior year.
And that was like in January. So I scored like 1,000.
No, December.
It was December. Matter of fact.
December.
Yep. So I got it before December.
Yep.
So I ended up getting 1,000 like in a year and a half.
Yeah.
So
you did. That's crazy.
And that's what I'm saying. So if I would have played,
you probably would have had.
I probably would have had 2.
Yeah, you would have. You would have for sure.
I probably would have had 2.
You would have for sure.
So
you was on that high clip.
So
made me mad looking at the thing because I ain't coming more to games. I'm like, right
yeah,
now you
so,
gonna be asked.
I mean, because I'm a student of the game too, though. So like once I really started loving it, I started looking at like Deion Gibson and Wayne Wilsons and of course Donnie Hills and stuff like that. So like I'm praying for Donnie Hill too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
COVID, for sure.
So like I do stuff like that. So like nowadays I joke with my uncle Deontay. I joke with him all the time. Like I'd be like, I'm the best player in Easton. Man, you not even top 10. So I be messing with them all the time. That type of stuff. So,
like you said, it's all love, man. That's a good thing.
Yeah, it's definitely love. So I mean, but yeah, going into that senior year, like that's when I knew I was ready for that next level. Like when I got to back to the Stephen Decatur game. So I ended up scoring. I scored on that whole game.
Sure did.
So and then I mean, that like I said, we started changing the culture a little bit too because we had the lacrosse people out there, and softball girls, and everybody. So it was mixed. It was diverse. So everybody wanted to see it. Like we had like a real sports school at that time. Like. So after that, like ended up outscoring them. We just started rolling from there.
So, I gotta say, y'all had a great year because I know, I guess, like I said, you averaged 41
What's up, Tip?
going into the break. Lost 2 in the Christmas tournament. You come out, y'all, I don't know if you remember, y'all have North Carolina. So it's like, it's Bama's go time. You had 29 on North Carolina, and you had 29, Colin had 21. Y'all
they was talking about that.
Oh, I bet they was.
Because we had a poor performance in the Christmas tournament, which was...
I think I got kicked out that game, too.
That's what they were talking about, because they were saying how y'all had a poor performance in that, and they went 2-0 in that. So, what was y'all going to do when y'all match up after the break.
Yeah, we had a poor performance at that because when we got to the Christmas tournament, like each team across the bridge, like, oh, this dude averaging 40. We're gonna throw everything we got now.
Man to man.
Man to man. They denied me. They denied me from jump ball. Like, so once I got to after that, that's when everybody was like, oh, was he only getting those 40s on base shots and like everybody else or whatever the case may be. So then that's when we came. Who did we play after the Christmas tournament? You said North Carolina.
Yeah, North Carolina.
Yeah. So I got word. Shout out to my boy Chris Pryor and Brenton on them.
It was talking.
I heard it was talking crazy. So it's really before social media and all, so we can't really go back and forth and all that. So they was like, man, Chris Pryor said he gonna strap you, shut you down to like 10 or something like that. And then it was flooded in there.
Yeah.
Super flooded.
Y'all can't see that.
So it was personal that day. Yeah, I was talking to John, like my boy Free, my boy Terrence, like he blocked John's shot that game. So Terrence, Terrence was that. He always had me hyped up. Every time before every game, they can't do nothing with you past that. They can't do nothing with you past that. So I ended up having 29 that night, I think.
Yeah, you did.
So,
you did.
Yeah.
That was a real big game.
And it was packed in there.
Yeah. Oh man, that's what they said. Packed. I mean, that's a big game because, like I said, y'all were 1 and 2. With the base on. I guess later y'all ended up getting y'all back. I guess and splitting. Mm-hmm. Y'all also had another good game. That game, I don't know if y'all remember the Cambridge game where y'all was up. Y'all let them come back. They tied up. Dude put a putback with like 11 seconds left. No, like 5 seconds left, and Cam called a timeout. He didn't have any timeouts. They got a tech, and then you went to the free throw line. You might probably remember you went to the free throw line and hit 3 out of 4 because then one of the players got another tech. So the game should have went to overtime. Y'all won 88-3, but instead of going to overtime,
The senior year?
yeah, it's senior year. Yeah.
What we talking about?
Yeah,
Cambridge?
Yeah, y'all play Cambridge.
Home or away? I mean home?
I think it was up there. I think it was up there. Y'all played them, and then it was a tech. I was reading about it, and you shot free throws at the end of winning. Yeah, it might have been your junior year, but I'm pretty sure it was your senior year. I'll verify that. But yeah.
Yeah, because it probably was our junior. Because our senior year.
You said y'all spent. That's right, because Chris was still on there your junior year, right?
Yeah, Chris was there.
Yeah, so that probably your junior.
They beat us over here.
Yeah, that makes sense.
We went over there.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
Right,
our senior year when we played Cambridge, shout out to my boy Brian Preston. But nah, we went out there. It was different. I think I had 40 that night too. 45.
That was my first night bet.
Mm-hmm. So I think I had 45 against them too, which was like, cause then you start hearing the D Jones talk.
Yeah,
so now I'm getting up there with them top dog down. So we got over there. It was flooded over there. So
in the playoffs that year, did y'all end up losing? Y'all lost to Waha again. That's Waha's always there, man. That's one thing.
Shout out my boy AJ Spencer, man. That's my dog. People don't understand how close me and AJ Spencer are. People don't understand how much of a dog AJ Spencer was.
Thank you.
Like,
Talk about
he don't down south. He don't get enough credit for me.
Yeah, he don't.
That's my boy.
He don't.
Like,
his brother don't either.
Bubby don't. Yeah.
I got Bubby be on here in September. Shout out Bub.
AJ Spencer was running through the base.
Yep.
And that's another thing. That's another person. So like, I was
30
trying
and
to.
10. He was
Like he was getting big assists with it too.
Big assists, yo.
So like, when we got there, and then like we what's his name? Tyree and all those guys too. I mean, they was just running you know what I'm saying? They was just running. So, but yeah, AJ Spencer, that's my dog. I feel like he don't get enough credit out there.
He don't. The quick thing about AJ, real quick before we move on, we had we played intramurals, right? Me, Gary, Bubby. We brought AJ on the intramural team. He was killing the college cats, yo. I mean,
there was a bucket,
he
bro.
was killing them.
I
mean, they couldn't do nothing with him. Yo, they even got mad. They even told the ones that ran the intramurals that he was a house. I'm like, y'all actually saying that like it's a like that make y'all look bad because we in college now. Y'all the ones getting dogged by house who was senior. So, but yeah, he's a kid, man. But you right, guy. Shout out AJ.
And then not to go backtrack, when we went to my boy on here, so I just seen things that made me think about it. So we played Sussex Central.
Yeah, Sussex Central. Yeah.
And I'm
holiday tournament.
Yeah, and that's what I was talking about. I was like, basketball and brought me a lot of brothers, like real team.
Yeah, that's true.
Like I said, I go to Delaware with no problem. Like, just go hoop with all my boys over there. So we ended up playing my boy Curtin, Corey Lewis, and all them boys. I couldn't do nothing. I'm like, bro, what is going on? So everybody like, he in a slump.
Yeah,
he ain't
doing
that. Yeah, he ain't doing nothing. So yeah, I do remember that too. I think I ended up having like, it was like that game. That was
It was like
Which game was this?
Like for you.
I think I had like 15, 16, something like that.
For you.
Which game was this?
This was such a central. Remember we played Western
And this is
Mills.
Christmas tournament?
Yeah.
Okay.
We played them second. We played Western
Yeah, because I know it
Mills.
was one game they were saying that they, like you said, they just, denied the whole time or the whole first half. They only trying to let you score. So.
Yeah, so once we got back over here after that Christmas time, that's when we knew we had to turn it up after that.
Yeah, and it looks like it was your junior year because you had 32 points and 8 assists. Michael Elliott had to put back in that game.
Who had 8 assists?
You had 32 and 8 assists. That game, 32 points.
People sound like the ball had 8 assists.
You too, bro.
Yeah, your junior, but yeah, that was your junior year. Yeah, but so yeah, so y'all ended up, like I said, losing my high. Great year though. I only lost 3-4 games the whole year. The Cliff Mr. All-Star game. The biggest thing was, now you and John being able to play on the same team. So just talk about how fun that was because you had 20, Bryce had 20 that game, John had 20. I mean, y'all really put on a show and y'all beat the South. So just talk about the All-Star game being able to play with everybody.
Oh, we once the season was over and we did it all. Of course, we was hurt because that was it. Like high school basketball. Like I tell people all the time, that was my funnest. That and JUCO was my funnest time. But me and John, like I said, we always been real tight. So that before the All-Star game, we went to the mall, got matching Jordan jackets, all that. So we was excited. We was ready to play. So then once we found out that we could play on the same team, they ain't have a chance to be honest with you. And then, like I said, we had just lost down there to Wild again. Yeah. So I was like, I can't leave Wild for loss. Like, so I mean, of course it was meaningless, but I had to get my get back because I know we was playing AJ and all that. And I still got a picture at my crib in North Carolina with me, AJ, and John. And but yeah, once me and John, that's when me and John really looked at each other. Like after that game, I'll never forget. We looked at each other in the locker room. We was like, can you imagine we did this for 4 years? We probably had 2 chips, 2 space ups.
Y'all are the perfect comment for each other because he's a pass first point guard. So it's real easy transition.
Right.
And that type. So like I said, the year's over. You average 32. Like I said, like 5 assists a game, like 7 boards. In my opinion, you should have been a player of the year. You and John, you were the player of the year, but you should have been by yourself. You and John split the player of the year. So he averaged around 18, about 6 assists or so. What do you feel about that year? Do you think you should have got it by yourself? Do you understand why they split it? Being, I guess, North Carolina won the Bayside, or how you feel about that?
I figured that.
What's up, D?
I figured we split it because I think, like I said, John was always the, you know what I'm saying, like
he was there all 4 years of varsity.
I tell my mom, my sister all the time, like that's who I was really chasing in high school. You know what I'm saying? Like he always gave me that. People was like, you can't do nothing with John. You can't. You know what I'm saying? So like each year, I was like, every time I saw him, I'm coming for you, bro. Like I said, there's no beef, none of that. I'm coming for you. So like, yeah, like I said, so I think he already had that buzz with his name. Yeah. But honestly, though, I tell him all the time, though, like, I think I should have got it by myself that year because that was, 36, 37, 5, and stuff like this. That was unheard of because it was a drought at our school for 1,000 points. Remember?
Yeah, it was.
So it was a drought.
I told you it wasn't me. 45 point shot.
That's what I'm saying. So like, for somebody to have it come back and have a year like that, yeah, I think it should have been a single award that year.
Yeah,
he knows all that
stuff, but yeah, it's all love. It's all love. So, like you said, one of the great, you end one of the great, high school career, not just in Easton, but on the Bayside. Like I say, you got the buzz, and you ended up going to Chesapeake. Was any other school before that you were wanted to go to, just couldn't, or what was your mindset? After
the crazy part is, one of my close friends named Josh Gamble. That was my boy, and we didn't see no color, no black and white, none of that. So and then shout out to Mary Gamble and Joe Gamble as well, the sheriff. Like they treat me like a son over there. You know what I'm saying? So we try to break that barrier more than what it is, especially in Easton High. We'll go out to eat and still get funny looks and stuff. So I say that to say I wanted to go to York. York College in PA. Because he had got a scholarship. That's how close we were. He wanted to go. He got in, and I didn't get in. So after that, I was just like, all right, now what am I to do? Because it wasn't really. I think the biggest school was Ohio State. One time they had James, he got more on that story, but Ohio State was the biggest school. So, but it wasn't nowhere like really crazy that I wanted to go to. I mean, I wanted to play UMES. I wanted to play because it was close to home, and like I ain't really been nowhere outside of that. So I wanted to go to UMES. I wanted to go to Dale State, and it was another school. I wanted to go to Towson.
Oh, okay.
I want to go to Towson.
One of the boss of Mount Houston City, man.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So everybody can. Because if I would have went to one of them schools, stuff like that, them games would have been felt like
oh
games.
My God. Oh my God. Yeah.
So like that's what. Yeah, those are my top 4 schools that I wanted to go to.
Yeah, that's what's up. So you go to Chesapeake, man, and you make history. You know, at Chesapeake, you go there and basically pick up. And I did go to a couple. I probably went more Chesapeake games than I did high school games because I was back in the area. But I mean, you put on, you know, for the city and for the town and for the shore. Y'all ended up being the regional champs, if I'm not mistaken, and winning the whole JUCO. I mean, just tell me about that year because I mean, I think y'all had a big that was real good with Andrew Lee. Andrew Lee. You know, y'all had some. You know, just talk about that year and just your mindset going into now. You know, playing college ball.
So now, like, it was going to. We had a meeting with Coach Mathis, who shout out to him. He really helped my game grow. Not a lot, because when I first got there, I shot one of them shots from half court. The court long.
Yeah.
Get over here. I don't want you shooting that shot. So we had a meeting, me, James, and Coach Mathis. And James was telling me, he was like, no, he can make those shots. Yeah. So I didn't start.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't start.
Yeah.
I didn't start for like the first 10 games. So I was playing little minutes, all that type of stuff. So that was a real humbling experience for me. I'm coming out 30 plus in high school. And now I'm right up the road, and I'm not even getting that many minutes. So, we ended up, a couple of people fell off. We ended up having like 7 people for the rest of the year. Yeah. And the 7 people I had, shout out to Auburn, Preston, all my boys from the Plata area. We still, like I said, we still communicate to this day and all that. So we had Andrew Lee, who we didn't understand how he ended up at Chesapeake.
Man, I'm looking at that game right now. 30, 11, and 3 steals.
That's what I'm saying. So we didn't understand how he ended up at Chesapeake. But we wasn't complaining. No, we were like, all right. Yeah. So we got to run now. So we had, and then them they used to stay out to the greens all the time. So we used to always hang out.
Oh yeah, sure did. Yeah,
we all got tight over that time. So
it was like, when they ended up coming to the middle school sometime?
They come to the middle school sometime. Yeah. So we
y'all started 10-2 that year.
We had a good year that year. I think we got some records up there too, as far as like most wins and stuff like that. So we ended up getting to like the playoffs, and we all right. We got 7 people, but we got a good chance of this. We ended up running the Cecil because we played. I think it's the state tournament first, then the regional tournament. Yeah. So we did like backtrack on that. So probably like the 10th, 11th game, that's when Coach Pam started playing. I mean, he had no choice. He had 7 people. Yeah. So I actually started doing well, like getting some decent numbers. So I think the state tournament ended up playing well in the state tournament. We ended up losing to the Cecil. Shout out to my boy Rob, Larry, and all those, Kevin Palmer, all those type of guys. I mean, everybody that year went D1 from Cecil. Everybody went D1. So I mean, it was close for a while, but they ended up blowing us out. I think by like 18 after that. So then we get to the regional tournament. We like, all right, Cecil the only team that can be. And Hagerstown had a good team too. Yeah. So we get to the regional tournament. We run through it. We end up winning the championship. And I think that's the only one up there, ain't it?
Yeah, I think that's the only one.
I think that's the only one.
That's what I said, man. That was huge. I think people kind of forget. To be honest, you and me, I was like, man, that's right. I remember that. I remember being at some of the games and everything. And then, like I said, I'm looking at one right here. Y'all beat Dundalk. You know what I'm saying? So y'all definitely put up, for the city and made history there. So you going now into your sophomore year of college. And just talk about the difference of the team. I know we talked about before we went live about the different people that was on there, Boo being back, and Felix, and different ones. But just talk about your sophomore year at Chesapeake, and now it's even more. I don't want to say pressure, but it's going to be more of a scoring load on you.
Right.
So just talk about that.
So going into my sophomore year at Chesapeake, I gained Coach Mathis' trust, I think. Because then that summer, like we was talking on the phone and all that type of stuff, he was like, I'm going to need you to be, you know what I'm saying, I'm going to need you to be our leading scorer. So then I ended up having, like I said, my best friend Dimitri coming up there.
Yep.
He ended up coming up there with me. So now I'm like, now I got somebody who also believed in me too. So now like it's easy again. So those first maybe 5, 6 games, I started playing well my sophomore year. So then I'm like, all right, now one of these D1 looks about to come too. I mean, that's what me and James always talk about. Like, we not to backtrack again, but we went to nationals up in New York.
Oh, okay.
Got smacked. We didn't score for it was like 16-0 at first. We didn't even score. So they ended up dogging us up there in New York. But fast forward to the sophomore year, like me and James talking like, man, you got a good chance to get to a D1 school. You know what I'm saying? So like, he was like, just keep doing what you're doing, stay in the books, blah 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 blah. Right about like the 8th, 9th game, I said I'll never do it again. I ended up failing off. Because it was, the crazy part is, the teacher, my English teacher was like, I'm going to let you read this paper. Because I mean, this is because how I was to her. I would always speak to her and all that type of stuff. She was like, Ty, I really got, like, I love you. Like, I got, you know what I'm saying? So, I'm going to give you this chance. So then I think they ended up saying something that I couldn't do it or something like that. I mean, I rewrote the whole paper from James didn't let me, I didn't go outside. I was just in the, I rewrote the paper. I didn't get the grade for it, so then I ended up failing off my sophomore year.
Gotcha.
So that's what happened. That's what ended up happening, and that's when all the looks had just went away after that, because they didn't get to see me after that. So then when they started seeing all these other kids at like regionals and states and stuff like that, so that was I think that was like the 8th or 9th game.
Another learning experience, and this is where I want to commend you, man, because most people after that they would say, man, forget it, man. I failed off. I'm in college. It's different than high school. I ain't got to go back. I'm just gonna chill and do. But talk about that gap of time and how long it was, and just the journey. Because even me, I don't know. I know you ended up going to Livingstone. But talk about the years in between and just your mindset and even some of the obstacles. You ain't got to talk about it all, but just some of the obstacles you went through. Because I know at one point you talking about going UMES and maybe some other places. So just talk about that a little bit.
So that like you said, that fell off my sophomore year at Chesapeake. That really hit me hard though. That's when I was like, not again. Like, and then like I said, at this point, like this is when I'm dunking way more than
you like you said, the college is different. You thinking like you said, you
so
go one.
So that hit me hard, like real hard. So then we we always had the Wahoo and all that type of stuff. Some of my, they my boys, so they was like, and I'm out there killing them too, but they like, man, you got the wild with us, you know what I'm saying? Like, I never took it as like hating them like that, but it was like, I went home one day and I really sat there and I was like, I really am just playing at the wild. Like, I'm good, but I'm sitting at home doing it. So, it was, and then it was a tweet I seen, maybe this one Twitter started really jumping up, and it was like give up your basketball dreams if you still home and stuff like that. So I was like I said, I never took none of that as like hate or never looked at anybody different. I just used it as fuel.
What's this? 2010? What's this? 09, 10?
This is I think after my sister graduated, like 2010.
Okay.
So so around that, so from 2010 to I would always say like, man, I'm this year for my pop, this year for my pop, and I would just always keep saying it, but nothing was coming out. So I was like, I gotta stop saying it. So this is where my mom played a real. My mom and James, of course, like. I really humbled myself first, because I was real cocky with like, yeah, I'm the best basketball player from the East, blah, 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 but I ain't got nothing to show for. We got the regional championship and all that type of stuff. But the crazy part is, I started going to church with my mom way more, and then I got it tatted on my arm. I got faith tatted on my arm. So once I really started like going, I'm sitting there, I've got a relationship with God and all that type of stuff. But I'm not gonna say that like I'm the biggest, spiritual type dude, but. Like my mom was like, you need to start really getting into it and paying attention and stuff like that. So I started praying more. Like I didn't take that for granted. Like I said, I wouldn't take nothing else for granted after that. So I ended up going to UMES. I ended up going to UMES. Yeah, I went to UMES for a year, and I was gonna try to walk on down there. But they already had their team set and all that type of stuff. But the crazy part is like we'll go to Talls and stuff like this. Talls. So
I want to be good. Talls. Shout out Talls. Same guy here. Shout out Talls, baby. Gary.
It got to. The word started getting around campus like it's this dude in the gym. That's saying. That's nice. Like like the basketball team would come over in Talls and start playing with them. I'm doing well against them. So I'm like, all right, I can play this game on level. So now I'm just like, all right. So we trying to talk to the coach, but I mean, like I said, my transcript was, and that was another thing too. Why I never really tried to get back into school because I was like, man, nobody can take me my transcript. I'm
So I think about transcript.
So James is like, man, the worst they can tell you is what?
Yep.
No.
Yes, Aaron said it.
He was like, the worst they can tell you is no. So, end up going down. You know what I mean? We talked to. His name was like Sharky or something like that back then. So we ended up talking to them. And like I said, I met a lot of good friends out there too. Like they'll tell like whoever played at UMS those years, they'll tell you. They'll tell you they was like, "El teacher on his team with him. Like he would have helped us out tremendously." So didn't end up going there. So then it's like, all right, here we go, another stepping stone. Like I can't get on here. So now it's like, is it time to just go to work? Like just try to find like I started getting like little random jobs like at Adidas and. I worked at UPS for like 3 weeks. It was too hot. I shout out whoever works at UPS. But yeah, so I ended up going down there, and then funny story. I don't know if you met him before. He works my camps. His name Raphael McNeil.
I haven't, but I've seen him at your camp. I haven't met him yet.
So I ended up meeting this another person that's played a huge part of my life. So I ended up meeting him at an open gym in Chesapeake because he started coaching in Chesapeake.
Oh, okay.
Him, Coach Mitch, and Coach D. So I ended up meeting those 3 guys. And they all from the city area, so they know talent. So
right.
So we in there at open gym, me, Herb, and John playing against the team. So yeah, shout out Herb, my boy too. So they like, so the dude like, he like, you playing somewhere? I was like, nah. And I wasn't trying to be like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So we ended up running the gym that day, me, John, and Herb. So he was like, man, y'all don't want to play at Chesapeake? I was like, nah. There's a funny story about that. Like, my boy, Coach Ralph, I pointed that to the wall.
Oh, okay.
And I was like,
he's like, yeah, that's ours.
That banner over there, that's mine. If he on here, he'll stand me from that. I was like, that banner over there, mine. So I was like, my other boy, y'all over here. So, boom, like, I never thought I'd see that man again in my life. Somehow, some way, we got like super close. Me and him talk every single day. So he's working the phones for me every chance he gets. Like, he's calling Virginia Union, he's calling Bowie, he actually picked me up one time, took me all the way to South Carolina to go to Claflin for a workout.
Wow.
So little stuff like that.
Yeah, that go a long way, man.
So that's what I'm saying. Like that's what. So like that gap probably from 2010 to 13, it was just like. People like, all right, you got game and all that type of stuff, but you had to watch, and it don't mean nothing. So like I said, sitting down with James, my mom through those times right there, it was like I said, I found God. I started praying more, like you know what I'm saying. So of course humbled myself because at this point I'm like, all right, you just a hometown legend, you know what I'm saying? Like, so after that, it definitely just opened my eyes to a lot more. I never take nothing for granted, and that's where I'm pretty sure we get into it, but. That's where my slogan came from my camp. They never give up. So, but I'll talk about that after the Livingstone thing.
Yeah. So Livingstone, you know, how was the process as far as them reaching out? Was it one of those things where they reached out? Was it a worker, like you said, that the gentleman you talking about, James, or was it somebody else besides Livingstone? But how'd you end up going there?
So I originally was supposed to go to Bowie State.
Oh, okay.
I was really supposed we workouts, we went through the whole application process, all that. Like I said, excuse me, my transcript was so jacked up. They was like, man, we tried, but it's not like. So I was like, I can't be mad at nobody but myself for that. So I was supposed to originally go to Bowie State. Then I was supposed to go to Virginia Union. So and shout out to Coach Blau, I was supposed to go to Virginia State as well.
Oh, okay.
So none of them schools worked out. So like I said, we went to Claflin, and I ain't have my basketball. I ain't played my best basketball that day, but I was like more like in point guard mode. They was like, but I thought they was looking for like a scorer, so they was like. So the funny story about that is the coach at Claflin. Well, Coach Ralph, like I said, Coach Ralph took me down there. So the coach at Claflin was like, man, I got the perfect school, I think, for him. That'll go with because what was third? I went to Livingstone 14.
Yeah. 14.
So I was 24. So, and that's another thing too, though. Like that's where the never give up came from.
Yeah, for sure.
A lot of people,
like,
you know what I'm saying. A lot of people, they just gave it up, or people gonna make fun of you. That's one thing I never really worried about.
Yeah, don't worry about people.
What people?
I used to. Don't worry about people.
I used to.
Young cats out there, don't worry about people.
I used to. I would take everything that people say with it, but now I'm just like, man, I gotta do this for my family. All this type of stuff. My mom wants to see me hoop, James, and then all my boys and all that type of stuff. So when I got there, I was like. So now I got to, so back to Cleveland. So he ended up calling Livingstone for me and was like, man, I got this cat down here that, I think he'll work well with your school. So we end up going up there to Livingstone. I came back home. So Coach Ralph ended up calling me and was like, man, they want you to come play down here. They can get you in and all that. So I ended up doing the application process, got in. The very first day I went down there, me and James went down there. James was like, you got to finish this up. You ain't coming back till you finish this up. Right. So, Livingstone was, that was the trenches. That was the trenches.
Yeah.
It was dog eat dog world out there. So, but Livingstone, I love everything about it, though, man. That really changed my life.
Man, talk about that tournament, because it's crazy, man. 'Cause I just remember being home, man, and being like, it was just crazy, like, that run. So you average in regular season, you average came out the bench, and you volunteered to come out the bench too. We'll get to that.
Mm-hmm.
Average 14, shot 54% from the field, shot 46 from three. But I want to talk about the tournament, your tournament run. Y'all end up winning it. You end up being tournament MVP. 18, if I'm not mistaken, big 18 against Bowie before you get to the championship. So just talk about that run, man, and just how crazy it is. Because that I don't know if you know, but I know you know now because you were in it. But man, you had everybody rooting for you. It was huge. I remember. I wish I could have made the actual game, but I remember, finding it on whatever to listen to and all that. But just talk about the run and just all that, man. Everything you went through, perseverance, and never give up. And now you're here in the tournament. You know what I mean? Just talk about that.
Yeah. So crazy part about that is Coach Stinson. Shout out to Coach Stinson. That's my dog for life. So we end up. So funny backstory about him. We ain't no more space.
No, we get you right.
So we ended up going to, oh my goodness, we played Virginia State. Yeah, so the next day at practice, he called me. He said, "Ty, you false advertising." I'll never forget that. So he called me false advertising. So I was like, false advertising? What are you talking about? He's like, man, you guys good as they say you are. So then after that, we ended up, and then like I said, I used to call my mom all the time, like, man, I'm about to quit. Like, I'm coming off the bench. I should not be coming off the bench, blah, 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 blah. My mom was like, you ain't coming back here. So you better figure it out, or you better. So she always, this is another life lesson with my mom. She was like, you better make the most of it. Like, if you get 8 minutes, you better kill those 8 minutes.
That's 8 minutes, yeah.
So, like, little stuff like that. So we ended up going to, we had a good run at the end type thing. So
y'all got hot at the right time.
We got hot at the right time. Because we had a stretch where we was losing like by 1 point, all that type of stuff. So we ended up going, I think we had lost we were down by 19 the last game of the season. But we ended up coming back and winning that game. So that momentum shift right there was the best momentum shift we had. So we got, the type of players I had on my team, like we had some D1 guys on there. That, my boy Sean Jackson, Di. Yeah, so all of them. So we get to the tournament, and I'm honestly, bro, like I teared up the first day getting there because we had Charlotte.
So she got it in there.
We in Charlotte, and I'm looking around like I'm really about to play an NBA arena type thing. So like, especially being a small kid from Easton type thing. So like, I'm like, we about to play in Charlotte Hornets Arena where Michael Jordan be where he at, his brothers-in-law and him at. So the court's so big, like it's beautiful out there. So the court's so big, but we just out there having a.
My bad. She was.
There's not in there.
I think she's downstairs.
She just went to the store because I went down there to get.
Let's play around. All right, get some juice on there.
Real Sports Fan Podcast, we live, baby. We trying to make some stuff. Intro some stuff. Y'all still out there? What's good? Go ahead. We talking to Ty Newman. We talking about Livingstone.
Yeah. So we so like I said, it was beautiful to see that arena like that. So like I said, my mom front row, James front row, my niece and my little sister there.
Yeah, it was dope.
So it was dope. Like,
Stanford there, I remember.
Yeah, Stanford, Sue, and all those guys were there. Everybody was there. So we end up. The floor was so, like, it was so much space out there there's so much space out there.
Yeah,
so the coach like, so my point guard like, bro, it's his birthday today too. Shout out to Cole. So he like, bro, can't nobody stand in front of you out here. Like, just go ahead and eat. Just go ahead and do it.
Yep.
So I'm coming off the bench like, when I get in here, like I'm having fun at this point. I'm out there.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Because I remember Bryce was watching on the YouTube. I mean on the laptop and stuff. Yeah. So and then like I said, and then my mom was telling me, she was like, people at home having watch parties. Like they had the bars.
That's what I'm saying. It was jumping, Joe. Trust me. I remember like, yo, I gotta find this show.
They was having watch parties and all that type of stuff. So and now I'm like, all right, now I got the whole town behind me. Easton always been behind me. They always been supportive of me. So we get to the first game, we was tight. Like we was, we don't want to make mistakes. Like,
playing out to lose instead
playing
of
out to lose. Yeah. So once we got after that first win, we were so comfortable. We got to, I forgot, who did we play next? We played Lincoln first, and then we played, I want to say Bowie maybe.
Yeah, Bowie.
Yeah, we ended up playing Bowie. Yeah. So we was hot against Bowie. Though. We came out scorching against Bowie. So once we got past Bowie, we got to the championship. I mean, we had the police escort that morning.
Yeah, that's dope.
They pick us up they didn't pick us up, but they, you know what I'm saying, they followed the bus.
Kid from Eastern Maryland.
Yeah. So I'm looking at all this, like I'm taking it in, like I'm having a good time watching this stuff. So like, championship game, it's like, this hard to lose now. Like,
yeah.
I mean, when I tell you that's the best game we played all year.
I was gonna say, because
that championship game was the best game we played all year. Because that's when like Clinton Portis and all those guys were there, and there was a lot of superstars.
That's what I'm saying.
So that's what I'm saying. So that like me and my boys talk about this all the time. Like, you really went from the couch.
Yeah.
Playing the Charlotte Hornets.
Yeah.
So like so that's that's another thing I told people. My body ain't had a wear and tear like 24 years.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So I was still good.
Yeah.
I mean, then like I said, like the CIAA is like, it's really a second chance opportunity for people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, so it was some other 23, 24. You know what I'm saying? People like that in the league too. So it wasn't just all freshmen. Like a lot of freshmen didn't play that year because they couldn't compete with it. So. So we played Winston in the championship. Like I said, we came out there. We got up by like 20. We was just coaching after that. We just coaching after that. So after we ended up winning the championship, you know me, I grabbed the ball. I'm taking all this. All this is coming back to Easton. The basketball, the nets, everything is coming back to Easton because they still trying to find the basketball. Yeah. So the AD, he don't work there no more now, but he was like. He's like, can you bring the basketball back to the school? You want to put it in the cage? No. The basketball's at my house. Y'all not going to come to East and get it.
Man,
so, but yeah, so we, so after that, so I'm over there standing with my mom and Jane. Like, I'm crying and all that. I'm not thinking about nothing. So I'm over there, so I'm just like, nah, we really did it. Like, this is all worth it right here. This is what, so Riley and them, of course, they younger at the time, so they looking at me like, why is LT crying? So my mom was just like, he happy, blah, 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 blah. So, I'm standing over there talking to them, and all my boys like they're over there with they have the nets, they're cutting the nets and all that. So TR, like my sister tapped me and was like, I think you just won something. So I'm like, what you talking about? So I'm looking around, all my team like, yo,
not even registering to you.
Come here. I'm like, man, I'm over here with my mom. I'm not sure you know what I'm saying. My mom like, no, you just won tournament MVP. I said, what?
That's crazy.
Coming off the bench.
That's what I'm saying. You came off the bench.
Coming off the bench. So they was like, you just won tournament MVP. Like, me and my mom talk about this all the time. Like, she really think, like, just for the kids coming up and see, like, she really do like a documentary or something. Because she was like, you got a lot to tell. So.
And I told you that's why I want to do what we going to do. But yeah, you individually, you definitely got to do that.
That's what I'm saying. So, like, I mean, that's why I couldn't.
You already got your name and everything.
So we ended up, I ended up going up there with the crazy part is, Virginia Union that didn't let me in. The guy that had to give me my tournament MVP was he was the president of the school. Yeah. So it gets word to him that they was like, hold up.
Yeah, he tried to come there. He tried to come there.
He was hot.
Oh man, I bet he was.
He was hot. So like after getting off, I mean, it was just all surreal after that. Like,
yeah, to come off the bench and do that, man. That's what I was thinking. I was like, he come off the bench. I'm like, he won tournament MVP, and like the number he was putting up was just. It was just crazy, man. It had to be surreal for you because it was surreal for me, and I didn't even play. This was I knew you, and I knew the journey. Yeah, I knew some of the journey, you know, and seeing you grow up. But man, it was just you definitely put on for the city, for the state, and all that, man. It was just dope, you know. And then going into so then you do that and do all that, but then you have another year eligibility. So you're all preseason CIAA. They're expecting you to be on the first team, and like I said,
that's another thing. I didn't make CI that year. My first year.
Your first year, right.
So that's another reason not to go back.
No, go. You go.
That's why I called Bryce.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, tears.
Mm-hmm.
Like, bro, I ain't make all CI, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
So he just let me run. He just let me go. That's one thing with me, Dimitri, and Bryce. That's what we do. Like, if it's a Dre and you know what I'm saying, Frank and all them. So if we talking and like they know somebody hurt, we're just gonna let you talk to me. I literally told this man. He was like, "So what we gonna win the championship?"
He right here, so he ain't lying.
And he can stand the story. I said, "We're gonna win this championship." My phone back on. We're gonna win this championship, and I'm gonna get tournament MVP. I told him that before the first game. So after that, we ran it straight down. After that, so yeah, I didn't make all CI that year.
So what was your mindset going in after you win it and like, man, I still got another year? Like what was your mindset then? Because I know your scoring went up to about 18 that year, and then y'all made another, if I'm not mistaken, another deep run. But what happened that year as far as in the tourney?
The tourney my senior year.
Y'all had another good run. I know it wasn't quite good enough, but y'all had another good run.
Oh, because we ended up going nationals that year.
Yeah.
I know my boys on here, they kill me about this story all the time. So we go to West Virginia for the national tournament to play West Liberty. Bro. First of all, the air, all that is different. It's different.
Yeah.
So we out there, I do my first lap in warm. I'm like, what is going on? So I look at my mom and Jane. I'm like, I can't breathe.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't breathe.
And I'm sorry, where'd you say y'all was at?
West Liberty. We was in West Virginia.
Yeah.
So we went to West Virginia.
Up in the mountains, like
up in the mountains. So we the road, the turns, is all. You know what I'm saying? So we go to. So we end up beating Winston in the championship. So we all right. So honestly, at first we were just like, cool. We won. We don't care about nothing else. So then we get to. They was like, nah, we can go to nationals after trying to make some noise. So like I said, we get up there with all that. The air is different, everything. So like I said, I'm looking at my mom like, well, I can't breathe in here. Bro, when I tell you these white boys, because we watching them like, back in the day, like, don't look down there, don't worry about what they're doing. So I'm looking at I'm trying to scope the talent out. So I'm looking down there, they don't do no layups and warm-ups. They're shooting all threes. I mean, they doing drills where they shooting threes over there. We get to the game, so it was close for a little bit. It was probably like 12-8, something like that. So we get to maybe like 14 minutes into the game. And I tell you, they ran off about 10 threes. I mean, they get into the basket, like they at the basket. He'll kick it all the way back up. And we like...
And that's crazy because that's way before, because you think about like now, that's all cats doing is shooting threes. But you know what I'm saying? Then that's what I'm saying. They had that green light to do that.
So and they had this one kid from, I think he was from like Germany or something. Cole, I think he ended up having like 29 or something like that.
So,
man, them boys beat up. I think his final score was like 127 to 89. And I ain't had a bad loss like that since we played Duke. So
I was at Experience. I like you said, Duke. Yeah, I seen the picture with you and Cook. You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy. I'm happy for him. I feel like I know him because he had a journey too, right? But yeah, how was that though? I mean, because you scored pretty good against them too. But who else was on that Duke team that's in the league?
Justice Winslow. So they were before.
Yeah, that was their year. That was the year they won.
Tyus Jones.
Tyus Jones. Yeah.
I forgot the other kid.
I remember that though. I remember seeing that. I remember y'all at the score station.
Yeah, Coach K was at the. So that, like I said, remember how when Last Dance came out, everybody that orb of Michael Jordan. Coach K had that same thing.
Oh man, I bet. Though.
So I'm sitting there like, bro,
Coach K.
I'm really from Eastern Maryland, but I'm in there now. And then a lot of people noticed. I didn't think people noticed this at first. So we all going through. And mind you, I only played like, cause I just came off of high English. I played like 8 minutes that game. So I had like 8 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists in 8 minutes against Duke. So I'm like,
I'm good.
So we steady going through. I'm like the last one. I always walk right in front of the coaches. I don't know why I did that. Coach K actually stops me, like put his hand on my chest and was like, "You got a lot of talent. Keep going." And that's what he said. Because people ask me all the time what he said, so that's why I'm telling. So that's the first time I ever told people that. So I mean, of course, I'm talking about my
Coach K, that's crazy.
He was like, man, you got some talent. Keep going.
You are shaking like a leaf. Yo, Coach K, come on, man.
So I mean, granted, we lost by 70, but we get to the. It was like my mom like saying that. Coach Ralph was there again. James, Riley, like saying it, like playing on that, and then we in the camera case, what they call it.
Yeah.
Man, they was messing with us from warm up time. Like they out there early. I mean, they all like this. Like, come on. Like, oh.
I thought that was crazy. Though.
So I'm not used to stuff like that. So like, so they so yeah, when we get back in the locker room, we like, all right, we got a decent team. Like, this is D1, but this is like when we get to D2. I mean, we get to our competition in like CI, we can run this bill up. So
how was it playing in Bolivia and just getting that call that you know that they needed you and you know you finish up Livingstone and now you going overseas and never been out the country, you know. So I think you said the first you event was Florida, you know. So you had to take a plane to Miami and then go from there to Bolivia another 8 hours. So just talk about that experience being somewhere you've never been and playing. And you played great, by the way, too.
So yeah, Charlie from.
Oh yeah,
Charlie.
Yes.
So we go to. So mind you, after Livingstone, I didn't get a phone call right away, and it was hard to find an agent and all that type of stuff. So I ran to get a phone call from Coach Rock one day, and he was like, "This agent want to talk to you." So I'm like, "All right." So he said, "Can you be at the Charlotte Hornets arena tomorrow?" I'm like,
no, and I'm sorry, not because was this before after you had the work? You had the workout before, right?
I had the workout right after Livingstone, yeah.
It was right at that. Now before you get to Bolivia, I'm sorry, the workout.
Okay.
Charlotte.
Yeah, so
talk about the workout first. That's my apology.
Oh yeah, so we get to I get the phone call from the guy from
I'm gonna get something else because I thought she had that. What you call? Go ahead.
Yeah. So after we get to we end up losing. We lost the championship that year, so we ended up losing to Virginia State. So I'm thinking like, all right, that was my last guaranteed basketball game. So we get. So I'm looking for agents and all that type of stuff, and then no agents is coming through right away. And like I said, Coach Ralph gave me the phone and told me that the guy from agent out of Raleigh, he wanted to talk to me and start doing business and stuff like that. So we get to like I said, he calls me and he's like, "Can you get to Charlotte Hornets arena tomorrow?" And I've been training, of course, and I was in Salisbury, North Carolina at the time. So he was like, "Can you get to the arena?" So I'm like, "Yeah, I can get down there," but I'm like, "For what?" He was like, the Charlotte Hornets want to work you out for a pre-draft workout. So they're like, "Nah, but you're going to be in there with all the other D1 guys, like Mason Plumlee and Wayne Selden from Kansas and all those type of guys." And then, of course, Kimber and all them was there. I mean, of course, they wasn't playing with us, but they was all in there shooting around and stuff like that. And that's another thing. I was telling my youngins that I would never say another NBA player sorry. Never.
Yeah, you know, I started saying that a while back, too.
I will never.
Because, you know, sometimes you're like, man, he sucked. Man, you in the NBA, ain't nobody suck. You know what I'm saying?
So then, and that's another thing. Everywhere I done went, as far as like Chesapeake, Eastern High, Livingstone, stuff like that.
Thank you. That's what you need right there.
So we get to, so when I get to the workout, I mean, it's beautiful, man. Like it's all love in there. So I can't do it. So we get to, where was we at? Oh, so they taking our body fat, all that type of stuff. So this whole different, it's a whole different experience for me. So I'm like, so the dude was like, man, he was like, "Where you from?" I was like, I went to Livingstone, but I'm from Eastern Maryland. He was like, "Oh, you the only D2 player in here?" He was like, "Man, that's big ups right there. You the only D2 guy in here." So he was like, "Man, I'm telling you this now. Like the D1 guys, they've been training all year, like a little bit more than you. They eat healthier than me. You know what I'm saying? They do it." So he was like, "I'm telling you this now. You're gonna be hurt." Not even 15, 20 minutes into the workout, go right to the bathroom, throw it right up.
Yeah.
It was rough. Like, that's why I tell you.
What was it like? And I know Real Sports Fan Podcast. We appreciate y'all being on here. We got some more stuff going to get into LT. I know the hour getting late. But what specifically did they have y'all doing to throw? Because like you said, it's Richard used to run this, but this is because Gary used to say that too. But that he even glad he got that because this is a whole different type of running, even college.
Yeah,
now this is NBA level.
Mm-hmm.
So just talk about some of the stuff that you doing.
So like when we get there, like we doing. I mean, of course, like when we were young, we used to do like full court and all that type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They making us play 1-on-1 full court.
That's what
and you can't
stop. And you gotta go hard.
You gotta go hard.
Right.
Everybody
Everybody
trying to get a spot in the draft. So I mean, once I got over the fact, like, oh man, I'm just in here, and I think I got my first bat. No, I'm sorry. Let me go back. So we do a shooting drill first, but you running with it, and then that's another thing I was telling my youngest, like pros don't miss.
They don't miss.
They don't miss.
No.
That's what the first thing Jeremy Lamb told me. He was like, man, if you want to be a pro, like you really gotta have your stroke ready. So we're doing that. So then we get to the 1-on-1s, and then after the 1-on-1s, you go straight to 2-on-2s, full court, 3-on-3s, full court. So like I said, like it was. So one time I got switched off on Mason Plumlee.
That's a big cat too.
He comes around with his elbow, like not like purposely, but he was just spinning in his move. I mean, he dunked the ball so hard. I'm like,
and that's Mason Plumlee.
You got it.
And some people be probably outside like, why is he in the league? Man, that cat athletic.
Yeah, he athletic, bro.
Oh, their whole family.
The whole family is, man.
He athletic, bro. So like I said, once I got over the fact of just being there, I was just like, I can compete with these dudes.
Yeah.
So then I'm starting to score like in the 2-on-2s and 3-on-3s, stuff like that. So I mean, that's when I really started understanding the politics of basketball.
Thank you, because people don't know.
A lot of kids don't. Right. Like, cause I mean, I have like all my like high school kids that I taught at the middle school and all that type of stuff at the Y and all that. So they look at me and they like, man, you should be in the NBA. Blah blah blah. And I was telling them it's a whole different world. So that's why like I try to teach my kids at my camps and stuff like that. It's bigger than basketball play. Like, I mean, the connections I made with people, and now the networks, and I still, you know what I'm saying? Like I was telling Bryson, I'm like, Michael Jordan's daughter picked me up from the hotel to take me. So seeing like being around stuff,
crazy.
She flexed on me too. She came out there with the Range Rover.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But yeah, so I'm like, so just little stuff like that. Like I'm this close to the Jordan family. You know, like it's so like I said, I owe Coach Ralph a lot because he the one got me down there. So, but yeah, that experience in that Charlotte Hornets thing was beautiful. Like I'll never forget that. I still watch the video to this day.
Man, you should.
Like I still watch it to this day. And then like we get into the locker room, my name on the locker and all that type of stuff, and they got the shorts and everything sitting up there. They got jerseys and socks, and then I got cool with the like athletic trainer type guy. He was just like, man, he was talking about, he was like, cause he was from D2 too, so he kind of took to me, I took to him. So he was like, man, come down to my office, like. So where he took me was like jerseys, and he gave me 2 pairs of shoes. Yeah. He said, man, I'm proud of what you're doing, man. So go ahead. So he gave me 2 pairs of shoes that day.
Dad said he pushing all that running, make him. Yeah, man.
Yeah, it was rough.
But I'm sure they got you right though for Bolivia now. So now I'm going back to that. So you get there. Was first 2-part? Was it first a culture shock, and then 2, you know, how did you feel this playing being? Because we seen the highlights and he was killing.
Yeah,
he was killing out there.
With that type of stuff, like we went to.
It was the playoffs, right?
Yeah. So then, like, I didn't really have like a lot of people around here to like talk to about like how to play and stuff like that. So I'm really going over there just like trying to figure it out. So first, I went to. I went to BWI, so I'm looking around, so I'm thinking like, I'll be there in like 6 hours. Bro, I sat on that plane for like 14 hours. 14 hours. I'm getting frustrated. I'm trying to turn to the side like this, trying to get comfortable. And then it was a short lady. I forgot her name. She was like, she tapped me and was like, you want to switch me seats?
Yeah,
I
was at the end, bro.
So I was at the end, so I was like, can I get this please? She was like, yeah. So she was like, good. She was like, play basketball, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, yeah. So she was like, where you going? So she told me, she was like, I was like Coach Obama in Bolivia. Matter of fact, the crazy part is, the coach just got on here. He was on my live.
Oh wow,
That's good. So so I first get to Bolivia. She was like, it's beautiful there. So I'm like, all right. So when I get there, it's sunny. It's like, because I had went end of August. Yeah, so it was sunny. So first day we get to the apartment, I'm looking around. I'm like, oh man, this like a shower like this big, and my roommate was from Detroit. So he was
that's cool.
Yeah,
That's
so
cool.
my roommate was from Detroit. So he had been overseas for a couple of years already. So he was telling me, he was like, man, it's a little different over there. Like it's gonna take some getting used to. So like it's way different than North America.
Yeah.
So one day he was like, man. So like I said, we got the free meals, we got the car, we got the whatever we needed, we got the access to the gym, whatever. So one day before we got the car, we had to walk up to where we got our food. I see nothing but dogs outside. Everybody that know me, they know I hate dogs. I can't do them. I'm just too terrified of them.
Okay.
So we get to, so I'm like, he like, bro, what's wrong with you? I'm trying to walk on the other side of the street. I'm like, bro, I don't do dog, bro. So like, this stuff like that, like, I mean, they was out there like squirrels, like just walking around, but they don't bother you. They was just straight up, they was just out there chilling. So I'm just like, so then we get to the food. So
that's all I heard about.
So we had like a host family. Like I still talk to them all the time, all that type of stuff. So they're actually from there, but they live in Charlotte now.
Oh wow.
So I still keep touching them. She always comments on my pictures on there. If I post them, she always comments on my pictures. But so we get to the food, we get to the restaurant. I'm looking at the menu. I'm like, I don't want nothing on there. So I ate. They did have a Burger King down there. So I ate chicken and rice for 2 weeks straight.
I would do the same thing.
So the lady there, the lady at the restaurant we went to, her son was on my team.
Oh, okay.
So she always used to mess with me. She was like, no, we're trying something new today. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm not trying nothing new. So I ended up trying stuff and all that. So it actually ended up being good. So like my experience over there it's amazing. I still, like I said, I got videos, I got pictures that I took, and I have all those still on my laptop and stuff like that. So that was definitely a good experience.
And then scoring wise, you went down there and did your thing. Do you remember what numbers you put up down there?
I think I averaged 21, 5, and 5, I think, or something like that. And then, because you only allowed to play 2 Americans at a time.
I heard that.
Yeah.
I heard that.
So you only allowed to play 2 Americans at a time.
Yeah, I heard that.
And it was the American that was in front of me. He was like, so we was going at it in practice and stuff like that. So I ended up actually starting.
Oh, okay.
So like after that first series, we ended up sweeping the first series. I think it was like 3-0. Then we played the best team in the conference who ended up going on to win the championship. We lost to them 3-1. So it was 2-0. Then I had a big game. I had like 30. The closeout game. And then we ended up losing. We had to go down there. And then it was cold in there, Jim.
Was it?
Super cold. But you know you can't wear t-shirts.
Yeah.
Or none of that type. You can't wear that type of stuff on your jersey. I didn't know that until like one day I walked on the court. They told me to get off the court. I'm like, for what? Like, you can't wear a t-shirt. So like, or like Under Armour things or anything like that. But yeah, I ended up averaging like 21 over there.
Great experience, man.
Yeah, great experience.
That's what's up, man. So again, Real Sports Fan Podcast, man. Todd Newman in the building, man. I'm gonna try to get him out here in about 20 minutes, Bryce. I'm gonna hit him with some quick hitters real quick. We're gonna get into a couple different things. Some's gonna be NBA, some might be high school. We'll get into it. But also, before I move on, it makes sense now why I seen that when you was with Livingstone that you had 30 against Virginia Union, because I didn't know Virginia Union did you like that. You had 30. So you had 30 on Union. I meant to mention that. So that makes sense now. So first we'll get to the NBA. If you don't know about LT, big LeBron fan, so I definitely want to get into a little bit of that. But first, going back to high school, give me your top 5 players that you played against in high school. Top 5 could be and no teammates. So we know right now, no teammates. top 5 players that you actually played against that wasn't on your East Award team.
I'm gonna go with John. I'm gonna go with AJ Spencer. I'm gonna go with Formonte West. That's a goodie. Or I say John, AJ Spencer, Formonte.
Hey, Coach, I tried.
That was a change over.
Yeah, so they were research. I tried.
See, I didn't really get the chance to play against like D. Jones.
Yeah. So somewhere you got Dawson, AJ, Formonte. And it's probably hard for you too because your sophomore year, I'm sure it was a couple seniors that was fine, but you played 10 games, so probably the comparison and all that. So, but if you want to stick at 3, because
Joey Fletcher.
Oh yeah,
big fan of him.
John
love Joey.
It was times like they used to get mad at me in practice because I was a youngin' when Joey was.
Because I played against Joey. Me too. He was a sophomore.
So I would go to practice and shoot a 3 and just say Joey Fletcher and just run back down the court. And they like, why you saying his name? I'm like, because he's a dog.
He was.
Love Fletcher.
And that's the thing. Y'all don't remember his brother. Shout out John probably on here. Joey might be on yours. And John will be on here in a couple weeks. John was the same way. He was a dog. John was a dog. Like John was a dog. Yo. Like he would take you left hand layup, and step back 3. So and they taught. So both of them they were dogs. Man, it was. So,
Joey.
So that's 4. I need one more. So I got Dawson, AJ, Vermonte, Joey, and then we need one more. We need one more.
You know what I'm about to say?
Beside Hood.
Ron.
Because
Ron was because he was getting the 40s and stuff like that.
And I was just sophomore.
Yeah, that was my sophomore year. So Ron and Adrian and that team they had right there that was a tough team right there.
That was. And then now let's go top 5 shooters. And I'm gonna put this out here. We had, because you didn't make the barbecue, and Bryce, I don't know where you was at either, but we had a debate. I want you to give me your top 5 shooters, but I want this one debate first. And the top 5 shooters you've seen. You and Bump. So we split hairs. I think it was like 4. Did I tell you about it? I think it was like 4. I think it's like 4. And I tell you, I went Bump. I was a smart catch and shoot. And I said it'd be probably like this: Bump hit 9 out of 10, LT hit 8 out of 10. The next day it might be reversed. But I'm just talking about just shooting and not scoring, not overall. The best player I think we know that's LT, but just shooting. I went with Bump. I think it was like 4-3 Bump with the 7 people that was here. But top 5 shooters. Well, what would you say to that first? I know you can tell me wrong.
I thought this gonna. That's one thing about Bryson and them though. Like like y'all said, I be too humble sometimes, but I also keep it spade to spade. Like Bunky to this day can go to the wall right now.
And that was my point. I was just like,
see, me personally, like I used to be a real good shooter, like really like at a high clip. But once my game started expanding,
you do more things. That's what. Thank you. See, this man think like me, man. My little bro, man. Skinner, you hear that? You heard that, or did you go away?
I get to the mid range, and I get to the basket now, and I'm blocking and stuff like that.
That was my point.
Now, that was my point. If we talk like range,
range you got. Yeah, Mike Blake, he even said that. Now I want to talk about range. Range you. Ain't seen people besides Andre Collins was stepping over head and shooting.
Bunky. I think Bunky's a better shooter than I am.
But top 5 shooters you've seen, and this can be. There's no age range. Just you seen top 5. It could be overseas, college, high school, just top 5 shooters. And take yourself out.
Top 5 shooters in the Bayside that as much as I done played, I haven't seen nobody shoot better than them. I'm gonna go Bunky, Andy Collins.
Andy Collins.
You don't forget Andy Collins, Andre Collins, Marty Bailey, Pooh Bear, Eddie Miller. Yeah, Eddie Miller. That's my 5.
That's a tough 5.
Yeah, that's my top 5.
Yeah, I can't.
As far as most shooters I've seen. So.
Yeah, Pooh Bear, that was my year. We never got to play against each other. Yeah, Marty.
What I say? Eddie Miller, Marty Bailey, Bunky, Andy, Andre. No disrespect to Albert, I never seen Albert.
And I never seen Albert. We know Albert.
Yeah, we know Albert. I never seen him shoot.
But that's why I said that he's seen. So y'all heard that he's seen.
That I've seen. So I don't want everybody.
That he's seen. Yeah.
I don't want my fellow birds to be mad. I've never seen him play before.
That's dope. Cool. So man, I want to get some NBA real quick, man. I got about 15 minutes. So everybody, if you don't know, like I said, you're a big LeBron fan. We're not getting into no GOAT debate, nothing like that on here, but. One, we're getting ready to get into NBA's back next week, and y'all watch out for. I'm gonna have an NBA restart episode with Bryce and Skinner and Sam next week. Y'all look out for that. But
hold on, I don't mean to cut you off. Who's a better athlete of all time, LeBron or Will Chamberlain?
Athlete, yeah, I know Skinner said Chamberlain.
Skinner
said Chamberlain. I would say LeBron. But I don't say it.
Skinner did break it down to me.
He did, he did throw some stuff up there. Yeah, he did. So shout out Skinner.
Go ahead, Skinner.
But MVP, who should get it? Giannis or LeBron? LeBron.
And I'm not just saying that because last year, was it last year? I think no, LeBron got hurt last year. the year before that, like I told people, like LeBron could really get that every year if he wanted to.
Every year.
But I think people like Harden deserved it. I think people like Westbrook deserved it when he got it. But this year, I really honestly think LeBron, like the dude in the 17th year, leading the league in assists. Assist. And still getting like
27,
27, you know what I'm saying, 8 rebound, whatever. Like, this is year 17. No disrespect. I mean, Giannis, I know that people always say,
people want to say he's averaging 30 and 14.
and people say he by himself.
Yep.
And
well, I'm tired of hearing that.
That's what I'm saying. But Chris Middleton's an all-star.
Yeah, I'm tired of hearing that by yourself. Y'all want to get me with that by yourself.
He's not by yourself. So I'm just like, I just honestly think,
Especially say LeBron by himself.
Right. I just think LeBron deserved this year. Like, I mean,
I'll say this, and Bryce, who you think? I know you off there.
MVP?
But MVP, yeah. And this is the thing. I want LeBron to get it, but I can't deny. And I think being the season ended, he would have had a better chance of getting it to LeBron. But they're probably gonna give it to Giannis. And I think it's just hard when you look at the 30 points, 14 rebounds, 5 assists. They're number 1 overall. But I will say this, that all of a sudden, and LeBron said this, he beat me to it. I was mad when I seen his tweet. That all of a sudden, you don't hear people talking about the West is so tough now. You know, it used to be LeBron's in the East. All you heard was he can't do it out West. He can't do that so easy. But now that he's out West doing it, this year, I swear, I've not heard too many people say LeBron doing it in the West now. You know, people like all back you forget that they said that. So that's the funny part to me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's the funny part to me. But you know, I think Giannis probably get it. And now I don't agree with Giannis. They talking about Giannis getting defense player of the year. I think AD should get that. I even think AD should get defense player of the year.
Yep.
But that's that's my opinion. But no, championship. Obviously, you got your Clippers lovers all of a sudden out there. You got some saying the Bucks. Some saying Lakers. I know obviously you gonna say Lakers, but if you're looking at someone that wants the Clippers to win, why is the Lakers gonna be better than the Clippers in the playoffs?
it was, I don't know, a lot of people don't remember, or if they remember or not, but LeBron and them played the Clippers and the Bucks in the same weekend. Mm-hmm. So I felt like MVP, right? I felt the Lakers was really making that turn to show y'all like we're the best team this year. But me personally, I just think, I mean, because the Clippers are a good team. Don't get me wrong, like they are a good team, but Paul George isn't. And I love Paul George. Everybody knows I love him, but he's not proven in the playoffs yet. You know what I'm saying? And of course, Patrick Beverley and them dogs and all that type of stuff. But I just think AD's too much for Montrezl Harrell and all those guys. And Brown, everybody knows playoff Browns are different Browns. And then you add the pieces like his boy J.R. Smith, where he comfortable with Deion Waiters, and I mean, I heard the scene at Rondo out, but that's what I'm saying. Then Dwight Howard playing basketball. I just think Lakers got. People don't understand. I think they're deeper than what people think they are.
I say that too. I always say that the Clippers have maybe that those best 8 or 9 guys, but definitely I always say the Lakers better. And then also, you know, I always say Paul George is the best number 2, but LeBron's better as a number 2 than number 1.
Right.
But LeBron has a better number 2 than AD. You know, so that's my thing too. And I will say this, and then I'll leave it is that because we're gonna get into this next week too. Is that one thing? They're gonna miss Avery Bradley. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, but definitely. I used to always hear people talking about the Clippers got dogs. You know, Kawhi and Montrez and Beverly dogs. So you hear people say they got dogs. But if you want to quote unquote say, you know, the Lakers ain't got dogs, they got dogs now. First of all, Rondo's always been a dog. Mm-hmm. You got JR down. Say what you want about Deion Waiters. He took this edibles on the plane, all that. When it comes to playing, he from Philly. He a dog. You feel me? He gonna play. And what I mean by that, he gonna back down. Like they ain't scared of the moment. Mm-hmm. You gonna come to him. What's up? We gonna play. JR the reason that the Cavs. One of the reasons the Cavs won the championship. He had 8 points coming out the third quarter that year. You know, so they've got the pieces. And then it's another dog. Somebody else I'm missing too. But I mean they've got it though. They've got those guys.
What's the white boy name?
They're not going back down. Caruso.
Yeah.
Caruso. That guy's not going back down. So it's gonna be interesting to see. When POV. All right. So yeah, we got a few minutes. If anybody got anything they want to chime in it, y'all look at these questions now. Appreciate everybody. If they say KCP with the threes, I'm see POV. What's up? What's up, POV? He's Anthony Davis as it pertains to playoffs. National P did proven playoffs. Best player Heat back to back here. Yeah, he was the best. He was the best player on that team. POV, I'll give you that. Paul George, but I still think he's a better 2 than 1. And I like what AD did the year they beat Portland, when Portland was house. I know Drew Holiday did a lot in that series against Dame. Don't get me wrong, but AD really did a lot. And if they had Boogie that year, I think they could have potentially even went further. So that's why, again, if I'm going between them two, because a lot of people say Kawhi and LeBron's gonna cancel each other out, I'm gonna take ED over PG. But hey, we'll see. We'll see soon. You know, with everything coming back. So, you know, we'll definitely see. So, but man, this has been fun, man. I know when I get up off here, it's probably gonna be something I wanted to ask, but I didn't. But I just want to say, man, I appreciate you coming through. Like I said, appreciate you know, all you do for the community, for the kids. You know, like I said, you definitely got, like your mom said, got a story to tell. Before we get out of here, any sort of updates on camp information or anything like that? Or it's not going to be going this year? Just talk a little bit about that.
So this year, we just didn't want to force it. You know what I'm saying? Of course, we wanted everybody to be safe, but then, like you said, the fear of the unknown is crazy. So like, so this year we were gonna chill this year, really build the brand. You know what I'm saying? Build the brand together and all that type of stuff. And next year we're gonna come back even stronger. Because now me and my uncle Deontay been talking about doing stuff as far as like unsigned camps, because a lot of people were saying, you know, a lot of coaches that. And then the crazy part is I had a lot of people coaches on the line saying that they would come down and check or send some people out here.
Dope, man.
So
make it happen, bro.
we're thinking about doing something like that. Probably. See, that's what I'm saying. It's probably gonna have to be next year now, because like you said, you don't know if the kids gonna go back to school right away and all that type of stuff. So yeah, we're just gonna take this year to chill and rather be safe than sorry. You know what I'm saying? So that's about it with the camps and stuff like that. So, but I really wanted to get into the unsigned type of thing. So like, use my platform to get these kids. You know what I'm saying?
Sure, man.
Because
you gotta use it.
I have tons of coaching numbers in my phone, and then the respect that I show them, I've always been a respectful dude. So the respect I show them, and that's another thing I tell my youngins all the time. Like, they're like respect and getting people's trust and loyalty. Like they'll look out for you for the rest of your life. So they'll come out and check out the kids and see if they can get on and stuff like that. So just using my piece, just trying to do my part for the kids and stuff like that. And some of the high school boys that's like LJs and all them guys that's coming up and stuff like that. So whatever I can do to help. But you know, I'm more of a over the years I became like a background guy. So like I don't really be posting about the stuff like that. There's a lot of my friends that tell me, they like, man, you got a big platform and you need to start using it. So I was like, yeah, you right about that. So I'm definitely getting into it now.
We definitely seen this even with, like, so all the people that's been on here. So we appreciate everybody tuning in. You do got a question, you want to answer that question? I think it must be somebody from somebody you know. Oh,
okay. Is it over?
Never say never, right?
Nah, never say never. But I mean, the opportunity has to, you know what I'm saying, be worth it. Like, I mean, getting into the teaching and stuff like that down in North Carolina, I love that profession as well. Like my mom and James always told me that was my calling right there, working in the school system. So. Coach Ralph said we might have something, but I'll have to really lock back in and get in the gym. I mean, of course, quarantine tore me up a little bit. Can't cope down. So I mean, Coach Ralph, we've been talking and stuff like that, and it's been a couple. I forgot the area he told me, but it's been a couple teams overseas that's still been reaching out and stuff like that. So we definitely have to lock back in and see. So.
That's what's up, man. We appreciate everybody, man. Like I said, look out for the next episode. Next Monday we got Sean Hawkins. He'll be in the building 7 o'clock next Monday. A lot of good stuff to talk about then. So appreciate everybody out there. Being a Real Sports Fan Podcast with Ty Newman, Bryce in the background.
Yo,
we out of here.
Yo,
peace.
What are you throwing me, bro?